Raiders of the Sulu Sea. Raiders of the Sulu Sea, a historiography documentary film focusing on Zamboanga City, depicting how the Spaniards defended the city with the fourth pillar as Spain's last stronghold invasion of defense and economic expansion in the south of the Philippines. It depicts the Southeast Asian flourishing free trading in the area and the adverse effects and repercussions when Europeans such as the English, Dutch, and Spanish who wanted to control the economy as well to colonize and Christianize. Aims of the document to raise awareness about slave trading prevalent in Sulu archipelago during the Spanish period in the 18th century. Raiders of the Sulu Sea is a documentary film produced by Oak Films 3 based on Singapore, directed by Edswan Othman, produced by Lem Swat Yen, Zuzanito Zakaria, and Yun Wah Kim. Publicity aired on Q Channel, also on Discovery Channel and National Geographic for international release. Original release date 2008. Duration 48 minutes and 43 seconds. Founded in 1996 in Singapore, Oak Tree Films has an established reputation for creating original and high-quality content, traveling across Asia Pacific, Europe, Middle East, Africa, and more. As one of the leading companies in Asia, their content has been broadcasted across more than 30 channels and across multiple platforms worldwide. Oaktree Films founders are Zahirat Bano Kodili, CEO, along with Lim Swat Yen, COO, and Jason Lai, Director of Content. Documentary film contributors. Isol Gloria D. Borja Estrada, a seventh-generation direct descendant of Vicente Alvarez, the hero of Zamboanga City during the Spanish-American War. She is one of Zamboanga City premier artists. She earned her first degree at the WMSU BSHE and pursued her second degree at the UP College of Fine Arts, major in art history. She is currently working as an executive assistant in the office of the city mayor and is overlooking the city hall restoration. She does extensive research in the arts and culture of Zamboanga. Dr. Samuel K. Tan, sa matausog Chinese-Filipino. He earned his MA History degree in UP Diliman and his PhD in Interdisciplinary Studies in Syracuse University, New York, USA. Director of the National Historical Institute, former chairman and professor in the Department of History of the University of the Philippines. Written works: A History of the Philippines, 1987, Decolonization and Filipino-Muslim Identity, 1989, Surat Sog, Letters of the Sultanate of Sulu, 2005, The Muslim South and Beyond, 2010. Sulu is a part of the Sulu archipelago which stretches from the tip of the Zamboanga Peninsula on the north to the island of Borneo in the south. The main island and its islets are situated between the island provinces of Basilan to the northeast and Tawi-Tawi to the southwest. Sulu is bordered by two seas, the Sulu Sea to the north and the Celebes which remain unnamed. Sulu is composed of 157 islands and islets which are divided into four groups: Hulu, Pangutaran, Tungkil Balangingi, and Siyasi Tapul. Raiders of the Sulu Sea is a documentary film about how the Spaniards defended the city of Zamboanga's fourth pillar. The pillar was the last base of defense which was used to control our economy in the past. The tribes of Sulu in Maguindanao were basically two kingdoms who launched a bloody attack in the fourth pillar within Zamboanga City. The raiders came from different tribes within Sulu. Muslim raiders. They were known in history as brutal savage, fearless slave raiders and above all pirates. The raiders are Balangingi Samal, Ilanon, and Tausug. They came from Muslim tribes, excellent mariners and expert sailors. They could go into shallow waters, builders of the most superior sea-going vessels of their time. They were called Moros by Spanish. Slaveholding was a primary form of investment in Sulu. Selling rate refers to the exchange rate used by the bank to sell foreign exchange to customers. Taupang, a tribal leader, the provider of slaves for southern sultanates. Slave raiding is a military raid for the purpose of capturing people and bringing them from the raid area to serve as slaves. They would bore a hole through the captured people's palm and put a string into it. It had been practiced among some tribe in the Philippines and it was legal during 18th century. According to Dr. Julius Bautista, Spaniards should do prevent Islam in spreading up to northern part of the country, propagate Christianity. According to Dr. Samuel Tan, the term pirates misleading due to attacks they have done to the converted local Christians located at the northern part of the country. These people, the Ilanon, retaliated against the Spaniards to abolish and put a stop in the continual spread of Christianity throughout the country. Pirate Monsoon, the well-organized forces that is launched for slave raiding the coast of Mindanao, Visayas, and Luzon between July to October, called as the Pirate Wind or Pirate Monsoon. Fort Pilar. Fortaleza del Pilar is 17th century military defense fortress built by the Spanish colonial government in Zamboanga City on Mindanao Island in the Philippines, in defense against pirates and raiders of the sultans of Mindanao and Jolo, and upon the request of the Jesuit missionaries and Bishop Fray Pedro of Cebu, the Spanish governor Juan Cerezo Salamanca approved the building of a stone fort in the year 1635. The fort was originally called Real Puerta de San Jose. Founded in 1635 as a garrison during the Spanish period, the Fort Pilar serves as a present-day open-air shrine. Originally named as La Puerta Real de San Jose, the fort is named after and dedicated to Our Lady of the Pilar, the patroness of the Archdiocese of Zamboanga.
Ancient maritime vessels. Lanong, large outrigger warships used by the Iranon and the Bangenge people, specialized for naval battles, were prominently used for piracy and the slave raids from the mid-18th century to the early 19th century in most Southeast Asia. Garay. Garay is a traditional native warships of the Bangenge people in the Philippines, used for piracy by the Bangenge and Iranon people against unarmed trading ships and raid on coastal settlements in the region surrounding the Sulu Sea. The name means scattered or wandered in the Sama language of the Bangenge. Garay were smaller, faster, and more maneuverable than the Iranon Lanong warships. Salisipan, an auxiliary vessels, usually part of fleets with larger mother ships like Pangajava Garay or Lanong warships. Among Malays, this type of boat is used as a boat of war or passenger boat, often used by the Iranon and Bangenge people of the Philippines for piracy and for raids on coastal areas. Ancient weapon of the Moro people. Barong, approximately 1 meter long sword with single-edged leaf-shaped blade made of thick tempered steel, was used in close hand-to-hand battle to cut down Spanish firearms. Moro Kris, a weapon of warfare and ceremony. These are not only carried by slave raiders into battles, but also by nobles and high-ranking officials of the southern sultanate. A double edge with either smooth or wavy blades. The curving is for easily slashing. It would penetrate the bone and would stick, making it hard to pull.
Kampilan, longest of the swords used primarily by the Ilanon. Heavily single-edged sword often adorned with hair to make it look even intimidating. At the tip of the blade, a projecting blunt side was used to pick up the head of a decapitated body.
Panglima Tayupan, also known as Datu Tayupan, he was the leader of the Sama Balangoy of Zamboanga, Basilan, and Tongkil Island. He fought for the independence of his people against Spanish incursions and launched raids against Spanish settlements. In 1848, Spanish forces using modern gunboats finally took islands after a fierce battle. Dato Tayupan and his followers were captured and were relocated to Isabela province in northern Luzon. Governor General Narciso Claveria planned to attack on the Basilan Island but found it hard to approach. The Spanish ordered three steamships that were used to defeat the raiders. It became known as Claveria's secret weapon. They also captured the wife of Panglima Tayupan. Thought on the documentary. After watching this documentary, I can say that it emphasized a positive cultural practices because despite of the film talking about slave raiding, the battle between riders and colonizers is not just about slave but also about religion. They weren't just fighting for personal gain but they are fighting for their freedom and their land. The film was comprehensive and objective because it served as an eye-opener for me to see how the war really started and to see how we first retaliated against an oppressors. This film really showed how the Filipino people have always fought for their freedom. Contribution to the grand narrative of Philippine history. Filipinos struggle for freedom. Opposition towards Western imperialism. Political dynasty. Bangsamoro title was well known throughout the Malaysian archipelago and among Muslim community. Insistent resistance may have inspired Filipino revolutionaries. Learning experience. Indigenous Filipinos are willing to fight to preserve their culture from Spaniards. Slavery during that time was legal and part of their culture. The conflict between tribe and Spaniards was more on beliefs and religions, not from business or trade.